I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Yeah, I'm back making moves. Had to get back down here for homecoming. We're gonna give you a slice of that, but we have some other HBCU news and some big matchups that the team will do today. Great conference I was part of in terms of the R2 HBCU deans that showed up in the house. I'll give you a little bit of information on that, but it's time to say welcome to episode 571 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, a show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington. He's on assignment. Literally, he's flying in. He wanted to make sure he was in for homecoming, so he skipped the show. Like, with Mike, priorities. And Charles Bishop, he's always on time. We're filming from our home studios and a signal live to our KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer. That's multi-Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let me bring on the crew. Let's bring on the team and see how people are doing today. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THD Agency. THD Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational and consulting data analytics. While I'm ready for some Prairie View homecoming, I do want to let people know that I'm repping, and I got a little taste in my blood. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just got it like that. Wilton Jackson II, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Doc. I see you got my name right for right now, so we good.
Hey, I'm gonna open it up, right? Just mess up somewhere. I know what the name might be.
I got you.
No telling. The second, I got that right too. AD Drew, how you doing today? I must admit, man, you're looking really nice in that Morehouse gear. Just so people understand, He's
nice
making
look,
it AD. Nice look, man.
I like you changing out of your orange and green. That looks good.
I thought you was gonna say golden tiger. Golden tiger to a maroon tiger. I thought you was gonna really go with that.
No. Shout out all my rattlers. Still hello.
I know, but Charles, you must say of all the rattlers that who do this in this space, I am probably one of the most objective rattlers, because I'm always the pessimistic rattler of all of us.
You are the pessimistic rattler. I will give you that. I will say I'm surprised by all the fervor from Rattler Nation this past week. The low attendance and man. Yeah, move on to the next week. You got Southern. Let's get to it.
The only thing that I'm gonna say, Charles, if the 100 would have been there, maybe we would have performed a little bit better.
Hey, that's a serious statement, though.
That's a serious statement. Yeah.
You talking about being in the football business and what it takes.
Yeah,
that's a huge component of the game. How many other fans would have followed if 100 came in there? How many more just regional Jackson State fans or just fans of HBCU sports would have came? And what does that make for the atmosphere, and how does that create a different game when the atmosphere was already electrifying and everything was there? So I like the points you make, AD Drew.
And last thing on 100, we might have doubled the amount of orange green in the stands. It looks like also if the 100 would have showed up. Ooh, my bad. Yeah, I'm talking about y'all. I'm talking about y'all, Rattler Nation.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hey,
I can only stand back and watch, but that's fair.
yeah. Well, you know, Drew gonna call it like it is.
Yeah.
With that being said, one of the reasons Drew has the Morehouse colors on is the fact that Morehouse College and Tuskegee University of all matchups, SIAC matchup, is selected to play in 2025 NBA HBCU Classic presented by AT&T on February the 15th. This came out news release. This is part of the special announcement. I know a lot of folks connected it with other things, but no, this is what we were referencing. And you still have to hold on a little bit for that, whether it's for Tuskegee or Morehouse in terms of those announcements. But with that being said, I'll let Drew get in a little bit in there as we get further in the show, but I did want to kind of highlight this as great news of the day to open things up. The NBA today announced that Morehouse College, Tuskegee University men's basketball programs have been selected to compete in the 2025 NBA HBCU Classic presented by AT&T as part of the NBA All-Star 2025 in San Francisco Bay Area. Big deal. Proud of the SIAC. Both Morehouse and Tuskegee should be excited for the pageantry and all the fans that get to be a part of it, particularly out on the West Coast, which is another place that certainly loves its HBCUs. So great announcement here. As I said, we'll get into some nuances that AD Drew will be able to share with us that we can't quite get anywhere else. But with that said, I'm going to go to you, Charles, and let you add some additional news. What else do you want to share today?
Yeah, let's take a look at it. And SWAC Digital men's and women's basketball schedule was released. SWAC announced its 2025 SWAC men's and women's basketball broadcast schedule for the SWAC Digital Network. Texas Southern, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Alabama State, and Jackson State will tip off in a league doubleheader, starting its coverage on Saturday, January 11th. The schedule of SWAC Digital games includes several rivalry matchups, featuring Alabama State at Alabama A&M on January 18th, Alcorn at Jackson State on February 22nd, and Texas Southern at Prairie View on March 8th, and Florida A&M at Bethune-Cookman on March 8th as well. So a record number of the league's men's and women's basketball games, 40, are set to be broadcast on the SWAC Digital Network, with coverage concluding on Saturday, March 8th. So big news from the Southwestern Athletic Conference in regards to broadcasting their basketball games.
Hey, SWAC Digital Media is back in the business. We've kind of seen it quietly from football, but when you see this magnitude of games, you can tell that different framework is going on with the SWAC. And it's been done really smooth and quietly. But I like what's taking place in terms of utilizing the SWAC Digital Media, protecting your space, and all the support you're getting from the sponsorships, which I'm hearing continues to grow. With that being said, Wilton Jackson II, what news do you want to share today?
So, Doc, I want to kind of get into
2 in a row, man. That's 2 in a row.
It is. We gonna make sure we give you a notch on the bar for that one.
Hey, get it right. Get it right. Wait till I'm telling you. Wait till you say something I don't like.
No, I got you. I'm gonna get into some other news a little bit outside the SWAC. Some news about Google partnering with the HBCU to advance AI sports reporting. Thanks to a $100,000 contribution from Google, Morgan State University School of Global Journalism and Communication has partnered with JR Sports Brief Productions to advance sports coverage and news reporting through the use of artificial intelligence. This innovative research and development effort will explore how AI can streamline and bring greater efficiencies to traditional sports journalism by creating automated post-game content such as box scores and video news reports. As a person who, all of us has seen how journalism is constantly changing, AI is not going anywhere. So seeing this come and actually people being upfront about how it's being used and how it's being used effectively at athletic departments is very important. So I wanted to highlight that. Oh,
very important. Great information. Big deal. Morgan State University continues to do big things, as you saw right there. Let me go to you, AD Drew. What other news do you have on your mind going on right now?
Outside of the fact that my plane ticket is secured to San Francisco, California. Wait a minute. And fellas,
Weren't you in
Remember
Chicago earlier, New York, and now you're San Francisco? So that Morehouse brand ain't all bad.
It ain't all bad, you know. And membership also has its privileges, fellas, because you see what they gave us.
I'm hating now. I'm officially hating. We see it.
No. Now hold the hate. Now it's time to hate.
Oh wow.
Now
Personalized.
Now I'm just disgusted. I'm past hate now. Good stuff.
Actually, I just wanted to go a little bit deeper.
Sure.
Into this game. This was one of those things that when I took this job at Morehouse, that was kind of, I was embargoed on it. I was immediately into it in the multiple conversations that we've had over the last few weeks, and just kind of giving the excitement of what happened right there. I mean, these young student athletes realize this is an opportunity not only to showcase their skills, but for the brand and brand recognition, because both Tuskegee and Morehouse have they have a good California-based alumni. So that's one thing that's really going to help this particular game, is because they have good base out there in San Francisco, LA, specifically the two of them. And for all those out there on the left coast, Phoenix, Arizona, Vegas, we want to see y'all in Oaktown, because we will be playing in what was called Oracle Arena, where the Warriors used to play at. It's now just called the Oakland Coliseum once again. And your boy might be able to hook you up with a discount code for 50% off. If y'all stay around, I may hook y'all up with a discount code for 50% off for the tickets. Just to our game, not to the All-Star game. I want to make that clear. Not to All-Star Saturday night. It would just be to our game.
You already knew what they were gonna do. With that being said, I got a couple I want to get out of here. That's a pretty big deal to be. It stretch a little bit beyond just athletics and sports. Alabama A&M president Daniel K. Williams and his administration team and all the folks involved with recruiting, they officially announced today, for the second year in a row, Alabama A&M has reached record enrollment. Record-setting first-time student numbers have helped Alabama A&M grow to 7,295 students for the fall semester. That is significant, great to hear in terms of enrollment growth. I remember when I was around at A&M and they were at 545, right under 5,000. So good to see great growth in terms of what's taking place there. So I thought that was big news. I also want to share, esports, Charles, you know how we're trying to move around in this space. HBCU awarded $400,000 grant to infuse esports and computer science from Winston-Salem State. Winston-Salem State has received $400,000 National Science Foundation NSF grant that will integrate esports into HBCU computer science education programs. The grant was awarded to Winston-Salem State University Research Team by Dr. Jawanga Zhang, a computer science professor, along with co-principal investigator Dr. Mustafa Atay, computer science professor, and Dr. Renee Style, associate professor of health, physical education, and sports studies. The award is from NSF, Historically Black College University's undergraduate program, and will support their project titled Enhancing Undergraduate Computer Science Education Through Esports. Big time. I saw this also with Johnson C. Smith doing some work. So shout out to Winston-Salem State Nation. East Greensboro, I see you doing that at work. So I wanted to shout them out, give a little love to Johnson C. Smith as well, as they have one of the big esports where they have a top-ranked program, as well as they're getting some grant money to do some work like this. So pretty excited when you see this kind of things taking place. So just wanted to do a little work in terms of what that looks like in terms of what's going on there. With that being said, let's take our first break, come back on the other side, and talk about some HBCU sports. While we're lost in the sauce with the other stuff, there is a football season going on, and we know some of y'all want to transition to basketball, but other folks are in for a hunt. We're going to talk about it. With that being said, stick to We'll be right back after this break.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember. They can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft. Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less? You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We have Alan Williams. I think he's at the Airbnb or something, man. He was sending some pictures. He had pool. I'm like, say, man, you gonna make it homecoming? You gonna get comfortable down there?
Bruh, you know how we do down here at Prairie View. We here for homecoming, getting ready to set it out. Let me just walk y'all around real quick. Let me turn this camera around. Let's just see what we're working with. You see what we're working with?
No. Hey, turn your camera sideways, Alan, so we can get a good view.
There we go.
There we go.
How about that?
Yeah, that's better. Hold on, let me put you
yeah. Already. It's going down this weekend, man. I might not make it to the yard. I'm just saying.
Don't worry. We'll be there. We'll be there Friday before we go back to the yard. Hell, we might be there Sunday morning to do the show, Charles.
Pretty much.
What you think, Charles?
Yeah, it looks about right. Yeah. I think that
it's approved by Charles. Done deal.
There we go.
Appreciate you.
We are excited.
Let's get into some of these matches. Go ahead, Alan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, our folks are already getting turned up, man. Everybody got here about 5 or 6 o'clock. They're about to throw some meat on the grill, and you know how it goes. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully we can get a dub against A&M Commerce. We're going to see what team shows up. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to see what team shows up. Can I get that State Fair Classic team? I want that team.
For sure. Well, hey, I'll be making my move towards that direction. Make sure you save me one of them ribeyes.
There it is.
After the show. With that being said, I do want to give some updates to AD Drew. Charles got a chance to talk about this matchup. Number one, Johnson C. Smith, Golden Bulls, going to Bowman Gray, Winston-Salem State, North Carolina, to face number 3 Winston-State Rams. Winston-Salem State Rams, I said. Let me make sure I get that right. WSSU. We certainly got a follow on here, and he won't let it go, Charles.
No, he won't.
Because we call A.D. Drew one of the gurus at the mid-major level with the Division II programs. And I know he focuses a lot on the SIC, but he also keeps up with the CIAA. And we don't have Stephen Gaither to give us his update on this. And I think he would use the cheat code. He's so much of a fan. I'm not sure if he can talk about it objectively. Obviously, they had a great show the other day where they really focused on it and seriously did some great comments. But, Drew, before we move into some of the major division games, I'd be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to talk about that. And Winston, if you want to, you got a chance as well to talk about it. I'll let you know. You let me know if you want to give it down. But with that being said, Drew, go ahead.
Well, Johnson C. Smith has passed thus far every single test that they have had this season. They've won ugly. They've blown people out. They won close games. You know, they have pretty much seen everything. A team that in it last year with good potential, but a lot of injuries. Sure. Everybody healthy this year. We all know we don't have to go through the math and the playoff ramifications of this particular matchup. Johnson C. Smith, you would think that with the win, they could go ahead and sew this up. Nah, because all the competition in the South this year. Yep. Johnson C. Smith wins this and goes through this undefeated. They will have earned it. It's not like they have a cupcake schedule.
You're right.
Yeah. For Winston-Salem, this is almost do or die. They have to get this victory because, number one, not only are they looking up at Johnson C. Smith, but you've got Union and Virginia State out there. Now, we know one of those two are going to knock each other off because of the head-to-head matchup. Right. So, for Winston-Salem, a second loss, knowing that those two are still out there and not likely to falter, would almost essentially eliminate it. Now, yeah, y'all know I love chaos. There's some crazy math that can happen.
We actually said that the other day too.
I was watching the show where you could have one of the Virginia schools with 2 losses, Winston-Salem with 2 losses. I believe Fayetteville State still has 2 losses, if I remember.
Yep, that's correct.
And Livingstone right now has 2 losses in conference. I'm not sure if Fayetteville, and I'm going off the top of my head, I don't know if Fayetteville and Livingstone have played it. They did play each other earlier, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So we don't have to worry about that. But there could be some real funky MEAC-ish type math that goes on, not only in this conference, but in the other conference also, the SIAC, depending on what happens the next 2 weeks. The last thing before I turn this over, at least right now in the CIAA, you don't see a classic trap game because of the competition this year. You know, last couple of years, you've always seen that trap game. You remember a couple of years ago, Union lost that game to Shawan, and they wound up sneaking in. And we always see that trap game about week 8, week 9 before the big matchup where somebody will drop a game. I don't think that if they drop their game this year, it's not going to be because they were overlooking their next opponent. It's going to be because they legitimately lost the game.
Which direction would you hedge? Which way are you pushing coming out of this matchup? Johnson.
Let's see. History says Johnson C. Smith hasn't won in pretty much since I was in diapers. So, yeah, I might have been potty trained by then. What is it? 1973, 1974,
that's ridiculous. Yeah,
something like that. I mean, I wasn't even potty trained in 1973. So, history is on the side, but sooner or later,
All good streets come to an end.
It has to come to an end. Hell, the Boston Red Sox finally won one after 86 years. The Chicago Cubs won one after 100 and some years. Hell, why not? Why Johnson C. Smith can't win one after 40 some odd years? I mean, I'm just saying.
I like it. Ricky Burton, shout out. We in the lab. Yes, we are. Wilton, do you want a piece of this or you want to go straight to the major division?
I'll just add a little bit more to what AD Drew said. It's really more of just a statement. I think that for me, I think this will be the year that JCSU breaks that streak. I think they get that win. I think it will be a close game. I really do. But I also think, and this might be a little bit biased too, because I got a story coming out about JCSU, and I've been looking at a lot of stats. So that probably gives a bias toward me. But I just definitely think they have all the right pieces to finally get over the hump. And to basically go over take that next step.
You snuck that in there, Wilson. That's good work. That's professional. You highly trained professional. Charles, I see you wanted to say something before we move forward.
So if Winston-Salem State were to get the upset, what do they need to do? AD or Wilton?
I'll go first, and then I'll let Wilton chime in. Okay. One thing that Johnson C. Smith, looking at the stats, I've only seen them in bits and pieces on film, but they tend to play pretty clean games. You know, low penalties, very few turnovers. So Winston-Salem, I think, would have to muck the game up, force a couple of turnovers, some undisciplined play, which we know was one of the things that plagued them a little bit last year, was a little bit on the undisciplined side. And if you look up and you see Johnson C. Smith has 10 to 12 penalties for 105 to 130 yards, advantage Winston-Salem. A couple of turnovers, advantage Winston-Salem. And Winston-Salem has got to take advantage of their red zone opportunities, because against Johnson C. Smith, it's not like they come in bunches. So anytime you get down to the red zone, you need sevens, not threes.
Good deal. Wilton, you wanted to answer that?
I think, Charles, more than anything, if Winston-Salem pulls off this win, Darius Ocean would almost have to have a subpar game. I mean, because every game this season, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's averaged at least close to almost 200 yards each game. So he would almost have to have a very, very subpar game. One thing I liked about what Shaw did to Johnson C. Smith, they didn't have that many rushing yards. And obviously they don't really run the ball as the main priority, but it does help with them. I think that if they're able to kind of maintain that and not allow them to run the ball, even though obviously the main option for JCSU is them throwing the ball, that could help. But I mean, Darius Ocean, he would have to have almost a terrible game for Winston-Salem to get that win.
I see D2 HBCU football talk, SIC talk is in the building. I see you representing. With that being said, Carol, I'm gonna give you a shout out. Particular, I see you late. That means you probably were taking care of some business at the Prairie View homecoming. But you know, I'm still gonna let you in the class. I hadn't locked the door. I just need you to come sit in the front. With that being said, let's go to you, Alan, and talk a little bit about this matchup. And you know, Alan has me on this thing now. I've been thinking about this. I think we're gonna get the brothers. We have a nice little group of about 13 of us from various HBCUs, all connected in there. Many of them are SWAC-related HBCUs, if you would. And we're talking about traveling to some of these homecoming games. Well, here's one that is not a homecoming, but a classic. This might be one that we need to put on the bucket list. I've been there, but it just continues to be solid and big. And so number 11, Alabama A&M Bulldogs versus number 8, Alabama State Hornets. This is an intriguing matchup when you look at it and talk about what's taking place here in terms of this matchup. Birmingham, they have the RVs coming in on Monday for this game. They shut down now. This is a state, South is football crazy, right? Yeah. We around here in Texas, we think we do a little football. Jackson, Mississippi in general, they like to talk about, they have a little football, especially when you talk about per capita. They remind you of who sends folks per capita to the pros. They like to remind you of that. Louisiana does that thing, particularly as they talk about the boot down there. They feel like they play some. Now we got FAMU in here. You got Rattlers in Florida. talking about they got football, and they love to talk about some speed. So it's a little different thing. But in Alabama, I hadn't quite seen this. On Friday, they don't have scheduled any city football game.
That's big. That's pretty big.
Let's be real about this.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, high school is king in the South. We had a thing in Texas called Friday Night Lights. I'm not sure that would work around these parts. They don't play football games.
Some of the high school football teams in Texas outdraw the college teams.
Exactly. They shut down school. Shut down school on Friday. That's a little different. That city class is a little different. You know,
that Magic City Classic, boy. I'm trying to tell you. Hey, we were trying to decide earlier this week whether we were going to Magic City Classic or the Alabama A&M homecoming next year, and we split. We are split. So we might have to do both. I might have to put that on my Christmas list, but I got to make it to that Magic City Classic, man. They said that is the largest HBCU tailgate in the country.
It's not even arguable. I've been there. I witnessed. Proud to say that I participated in there. It's one of the jewels. I tell everybody that are truly HBCU fans. You know, we got a lot of fans, and you should be fans of the school, particularly. But if you're just a fan of HBCU football, the culture, everything that I talk about in my research, that's one you got to put on your bucket list. Eddie Drew, I know you wanted to sneak something in there about the game in terms of some.
No, I was just saying, you were comparing the high schools and them shutting down the high schools in the city of Birmingham as far as competitions and everything else. I was just saying, you talk about high school football in Texas. Some of the high schools in Texas outdraw the colleges, and they have bigger stadiums than a lot of the colleges down there. So, I don't know if that would work.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it would.
But it works in the Iron City.
Exactly, no doubt about it. With that being said, what's your general thoughts? It's really offense Bulldogs versus defense Hornets. You can flip it. That's a lot of it. Charles put it out there and said, hey, that's the matchup you want to look. Any different thoughts that you want to put out there, Wilton, in terms of this matchup?
Not really. I think that I really just want to see what version of Xavier Langford we're going to get against Alabama State.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it really does come down to that. Of course, obviously, the running game that Alabama A&M has, but I think it's really going to come down to will we get an early version of who we know Langford to be and orchestrating that offense, because it's really going to come down to what he does for them to get that win against Alabama State.
Drew?
I'm going to say this. We all know the challenge at Alabama State. It is not on the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. It's on the offense. I mean, they own quarterback number 74. No, seriously, they own quarterback number 5.
Really? 5, yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Number 5 is a converted wide receiver. Probably played quarterback in high school. A lot of wide receivers play quarterback in high school. So I mean that's where they are. I almost. And this gonna sound, I would almost say abandon what you're doing. You may call it Mickey Mouse, but you almost, if you're Alabama State, you almost need to put an extra running back there and run the Wildcat all game. But 11 people, I mean, now you've got an extra attacker in the game, rushing the ball. You can't throw the ball for the square root of 2 anyway, so you might as well just put an extra person back there and run some misdirection, some dives, some different stuff with the Wildcat, the quarterback. Because the quarterback can't throw the ball, they're gonna put 8 men in the box. At least you got a chance to balance the numbers by doing something like that. I'm just throwing it out there.
Charles?
I'm just saying the young man did throw for over 300 yards and they put up 54 points on Valley. So
who? Should I play Mike? I know Mike Washington out here, so let me play Mike.
I knew somebody was gonna say that.
We're talking about Valley.
No. Who is the only winless
team in the swag?
No, in Division 1.
Oh,
HBCU.
Mississippi Valley.
Okay.
Why you gotta say it so like that, man? Shout out to A&T Roy. He showed out there and said Greensboro in terms of they don't have football on Friday. He gonna represent A&T, which is his point. I just don't see Greensboro, Birmingham, a little different there.
Yeah, a little different.
But
G-Ho go hard. G-Ho goes hard.
Oh, it go hard. The homecoming go hard.
Yeah.
Go hard. There's no question about that. That's not what I'm saying. My point that I'm making in here, we're going to go to A&T as well. We're going to.
Yes. We got to make
Allen has already made sure we understood that. He's been down there on a visit on some other recruiting and things of that nature. So he's giving us a heads up. So we'll be here. The thing I will say about A&T, they need to get me excited when they do that for basketball. That's basketball.
Yeah, I get it. That's on my bucket list. I want to catch basketball.
That's why y'all ain't had a ride with your team being putting up 50-some points to every HBCU they play and almost losing to the D2 program. A&T football, y'all call me back when y'all get back in the football. With that being said, let's take our next break. We'll come back on the other side, and we're going to talk about this SWAC matchup. It used to be intra-conference matchup that went back to the 40s. Great breakdown on ONG Strike Zone with Carlos getting on there talking some good information about that matchup. But now it's time for Inside the Lab to talk about this number 5 matchup against number 7. The Jaguars are on the road to the Rattlers. This one interesting. We'll be right back after the break to discuss it a little more.
Looking for the ultimate cultural experience of 2025? The Zora Outdoor Festival of the Arts is where you need to be. From January 31st to February 2nd, Eatonville, Florida will come alive with incredible live performances from the Lavert Experience and Sunshine Anderson. Immerse yourself in interactive art. Take a journey through history with a new virtual tour app that brings Eatonville's legacy to life from your phone. Enjoy family-friendly STEM activities and explore over 80 unique vendors. Please don't miss the unforgettable R&B tribute to the legends. This is more than a festival. It's a celebration of Eatonville's rich cultural heritage. Visit zorafestival.org for tickets or to become a vendor. We'll see you in Eatonville, the oldest Black incorporated municipality in the country.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Allen had to get back to his homecoming festivities. He's gonna make sure my steak is hot and ready to go. I told him prime ribeye, man, medium. Y'all already know. With that being said, let's get back into this football game. Not homecoming here, but it's a big time matchup, top 7. Rivalry that goes back before it's become a conference game over the last couple of years. Playing this game since the 40s. It was the longest inter-conference matchup at the HBCU level, FCS level, for a while. So they stopped it with the coaches getting into it. Came back and was played a couple of times after that. And now it's a conference matchup. And now it's a big-time conference matchup with both teams playing really relatively well. Southern surprising a lot of folks, but they're back in the football business after they took down Alcorn State Braves and did it in a superlative fashion after winning 2 previous Western Conference games, both in overtime. For people questioning a lot of things. Not quite questioning the Jaguars the same, but now the question is kind of shifted to the Rattlers after a tough road loss to Jackson State. So I'm fascinated to see what the gentlemen have to say about this matchup because it is big time. Top 7 matchups according to the major poll that was released on Friday. I'm going to start with 80 Drew. Since Charles is back there ready to chuckle, I'm going to save him for last so he won't get himself in too much trouble. Drew, what are your thoughts?
I may be about to be the classic.
I thought this man was about to scream for us. I may be young, but I'm ready. Oh, Lord, they got him singing.
No, yeah, Morehouse.
This may be a instant overreaction because the last thought in my mind was Jackson State running all over Florida A&M University. Florida A&M University turning the ball over late. Compare that to Southern running the ball all over Alcorn. Alcorn running late. You know something? You would think the way that Southern has been winning games, that Southern is the defending HBCU champion, because it seems like this year is SWAC play. Southern has had that championship pedigree. They have just found ways to win, which is something that you expect out of championship teams. So I put all that together to say this. As a FAMU grad, this is the first time in a long time that I have wondered, will the streak end? Because Southern strengths seem to be every one of Florida A&M's weaknesses.
Right.
Every other year, Florida A&M has a good run game sucks. Good run game sucks. Guess what this year is, everybody? This is the suck year. So FAMU's run game has been non-existent. But in addition to that, they have not been able to stop the ball, roll it down the hill when it comes to the ground game. So if you see Southern with 35, 40 attempts on the ground, you're probably going to see a Southern victory. FAMU has shown an inability to consistently get after the quarterback. Now, there was a stretch where they had some opportunistic turnovers, but those were more rallying into the ball type turnovers after the receiver has caught the ball and got a little yak. So, I'm not picking Southern. No, I'm not picking Southern, but I'm definitely concerned. I will say that.
I certainly could understand. Wilton, Jackson the second. Give me some information about this matchup. How you looking at it?
So I like all the points that AD made, but I'm gonna say this.
He leaving the meat on the bone, Will?
He did. He very little bit, just a little bit, a few little pieces. You gotta scrape it off a little bit just to get some. But I'm gonna say this,
and it's mostly gristle.
It is very much gristle for sure. I will say this though, I have a hard time thinking that FAMU is gonna lose back-to-back games. Number one. Number two, I have a hard time thinking that they're gonna lose at Bragg. Now, if this game was at Southern, I would probably say, you know what? To every point that Drew made, Southern could probably, I won't say they would easily walk away with this game, but I would have a little bit more confidence knowing that obviously quarterback play for Southern, Noah Biden. I forget the other guy's name right now at the top of my mind, but it's like
T-Set.
Yes, yeah, T-Set. So it's just like, for me, I'm still kind of up in the air there. But in my mind, I'm thinking like this game was at Southern, I would give Southern the advantage. But to think in my mind, even with FAMU struggles to stop the run, because I guarantee you, if I'm Southern, if I'm Terrence Grace, I'm running the ball right down the throat of FAMU if I can with Kendrick Rhymes and Kobe Dillon. But I just think that FAMU is going to find a way. I think Southern will be able to still run the ball, but I think FAMU still finds a way to get a win in this game. And I think it's still going to come at the fact from Daniel Richardson being able to make some type of plays and for sure likely special teams to help them get this win at FAMU.
Good stuff. Shout out to Coach Parasi Norman out there giving AD Drew some love. I know he being funny with it, but hey, it is what it is. Charles, it's time for you to show up and show out. What you think about this matchup?
Doc, I think it's very concerning. Especially when you take a look at the fact that Florida A&M is giving up over 200 yards a game on the ground. I mean, it's hard to win games when you're giving up over 200 yards a game on the ground. They're toward the bottom of the SWAC in terms of rushing defense. And somewhere along the way, Southern has put the right mix of offensive line together, and all of a sudden, it's coming together. And that's the thing that I think is scary. I think, Wilton, you touched on it. When you take a look at Kobe Dillon, Kendrick Rhymes, C.J. Russell, I mean, the blueprint is there. You got to run between the tackles. and keep their offense off the field. We know Florida A&M can score. But how do you keep good offenses off the field? You run the ball and you wear them out by the fourth quarter. I think Southern can go in and in the streak. And I told you, Doc, a couple of weeks ago, when that ball starts bouncing in that direction, here comes Jag Nation. And it starts to pick up. It starts to pick up. And that's where I see this Southern football team starting to get that thing going. And
when they get it going. Yeah, when they get it going. And we'll see if they are going to get it going. They certainly take a major step in that direction at home last week. It was homecoming. So I want to see kind of how they bounce back after they level off a little bit.
And the big thing is, I think with Florida A&M, you can't let Jackson State beat you twice. I mean, that was a deflating loss last week. But it all depends on the play of Noah Biden this week. And I've said this week to week. There is a sweet spot, and you're starting to see it all over the conference with regards to quarterback play. Yep. Somewhere around 20 attempts, 20, 22, 23 attempts. That's enough. You know, that you get
enough to keep you honest.
Number. Yeah, you get over that, then you got some issues going. So
he had 22 last week.
Yeah, I think that's where the quarterback play is this year in the SWAC. You don't want to give them too many opportunities to throw you out of football games.
Good stuff. Let's take our last break. We'll come back on the other side, and guess what? It's MEAC time. We're going to talk a couple of MEAC matchups.
Playoffs.
No, not even talking about playoffs. It is a mini playoffs when you talk about the MEAC.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, man.
The rest of the season.
Yes. Exactly. With that being said, let's take our last break and come back on the side, and we'll talk about two of those matchups.
At Automasters LLC, our mission is to serve our community by providing quality automobiles at affordable prices. All of our vehicles are inspected and certified to offer you the confidence in knowing you have a quality vehicle. Our goal is to provide you with a seamless process and positive experience for your automobile purchase. Financing recommendations and specific vehicle inquiries are available at your request. You can find us at www.automasters06.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Also, please feel free to contact Terrence Miles at 601-927-7794. And tell him Sonia sent you.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. This first matchup is a little weird to me, and it's fascinating for multiple reasons. It's Howard Bison going on the road to Norfolk State Spartan for homecoming. Howard just came off a tough loss, as you was talking about, Alcorn and FAMU. Howard had a matchup that everybody kind of pointed to against Tennessee State. Tennessee State looks like they're rolling, getting things off. They're off this weekend, so we don't have to take a big look at them. But now it's conference play. Norfolk State already has a loss. Remember, they played in the Circle City Classic to North Carolina Central that is really playing great football. But this is an intriguing matchup to me to kind of kick things off in multiple ways. Certainly, if the Spartan lose, it's over. Bison, after losing last week, they got to find a way to get that little winning spirit, or it starts to trickle down, as you said, Charles, in terms of FAMU. If not careful, you can let a loss to Tennessee State beat you twice. So starting with you, Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of this matchup against the Howard Bison, Norfolk State Spartans?
I think the number one thing is who's going to say uncle first. I mean, when you take a look at it, Howard, the number 2 rushing team in the MEAC, Norfolk State's the number 3 rushing team in the MEAC. So I'm expecting, Jared Hunter and Kevon King to get their yardage. I question whether Norfolk State has enough offense to put Howard down. I think Howard goes in and spoils homecoming. Bad taste in Howard's mouth from last week to have their homecoming spoiled. Turnabout is fair play. I think Howard gets the win.
Wilton, let me go to you and get your thoughts in terms of this matchup. Howard Bison, Norfolk State Spartans. Where you going with?
I think Howard's going to get this win. I don't see them, kind of like what I said about FAMU. I don't see Howard losing back-to-back games here. I think a lot of it's going to come down to their dynamic playmakers. Obviously, Jared Hunter at running back, but then also for those that don't know, obviously they have their 2-quarterback system with Howard, and I think that could be to their benefit in going against Norfolk State. And I think that Howard gets the win.
Good commentary, AD Drew.
You know, last week we had came up with the bottom of the barrel bowl. If I was to give this game between Norfolk and Howard a bowl name, it would be the Disappointment Bowl. Have there not been two teams that have been more disappointing in the MEAC in their non-conference play than Norfolk State and the Howard Bison? I mean, Norfolk, we expected Coach Dawson Odoms to turn things around year 4 of it. Yeah, we know they had the quarterback out for the first 4 games, but even with the quarterback returning, we still have not seen what we expected to see out of Norfolk. And Howard, after giving away a couple of games, you know, we still have not seen the Howard team that we saw last year that came to play and won the MEAC last year. So one of these teams is going to come out the champion of the two of the most disappointing teams in the MEAC this year. And by the way, consolation prize goes to Morgan State as the disappointing team, because we expect Morgan State to find some offense also. So with that being said, I think the team that does come out of this matchup may be in a good position to surprise some people, and you know, they may not win it, but they'll get that momentum to be able to knock off, and let's be real, 2 top contenders, Central, South Carolina State. Maybe this will be that momentum that they need to get in position to knock one of those 2 off.
And that's the game next week, Thursday, and he's going to get all the highlights. But speaking of Morgan State, let's go to that matchup as a second matchup to discuss. Morgan State Bears. Defensive is their calling card, and they're playing a number 1 ranked team on the road, the Eagles, who have all the offense in the world, it looks like. They look clearly like the best team out there. I don't think anybody's arguing with them being number 1 rankings. They have several of the first-place votes, a couple of other teams tagging with them or whatever, but I think most folks at this point in the year. Eagles have been known to kind of let one slip past them every year. Is this the game that you look at this one? You know, Bears going to be ready. I'm going to stick with you, Drew, since you brought up Morgan State Bears, and I'm going to go to Wilton next as he's shaking his head clearly like, man, you waste my time. No. And then I'm going to come to Charles to kind of close it out. But Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of this Morgan State Bears, North Carolina Central Eagles? I'm trying to sell it.
You know, that man tried to sell me their car too. They had a knock in the motor, but I didn't buy it. Smart. I mean, exactly. So I'm going to be smart about this commentary. Obviously, we know defensively two of the better teams in the MEAC. Throw South Carolina State into the argument, rank them how you want to, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right, but offensively, we know who has the clear advantage in this particular matchup. Can Coach David Wilson find some way to manufacture points from defense or special team? Can they get a scoop and score? Can they get a pick 6? Can the defense cause a turnover to give them a short field in plus territory, or even in the red zone? Can the defense stop Central when they drive down, enter the Bear red zone, and have them come away with 3 points, or even better, with no points? That's the only chance Morgan State really has in this game. You know, they're not gonna put 50 up on them. But I think on paper, Central could win this game by 30 easily.
He said might as well be 50.
Oh my God.
I know. Wilton, I know it's homecoming. Is that your trepidation or is it other thing? What just has you being like, there's not a chance in the world that the Bears are going to be able to come into the homecoming of North Carolina Central and get the win?
Well, Dr. Cavil, for me, it's one of those things that, we always know the saying of defense wins championships, and that's true. You have the greatest defense, and that's very, very, very important. But at some point, you have to be able to score some points. Number one. Number two, you have to be able to at least have a substantial, pretty somewhat average quarterback to at least run your offense to be able to orchestrate what that's going to look like. And with Morgan State, I think the thing that I've been saying all season is like, I'm not worried about the defense. I'm worried about what they're going to do offensively. But if you keep your defense on the field, this is just simple math. If you keep the defense on the field for so long, they're going to get tired. Even if this game was a one touchdown deficit for Morgan State by halftime, by the end of the game, I don't think it's going to be a one touchdown deficit. I wouldn't say it's going to be 30 points, but at the same time, I would at least say maybe two touchdowns, maybe even 17 points. So 2 touchdowns and a field goal that North Carolina Central wins this game. I think they just have too many weapons on the offensive side of the ball for Morgan State to consistently keep stopping them or not being able to stop them.
Excellent points made. Charles, bring it home.
North Carolina Central is outscoring their opponents 216-48 in the last 4 games. They're averaging 54 points a game. I sustain both arguments from Wilton and AD in terms of does Morgan State have enough offense? The answer simply is no. They are the MEAC's version of Alabama State. All defensive offense. So, I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. I think North Carolina Central will win. It's going to be tough to me, I think, putting up a lot of points, but I can see easily maybe a 20-7 game or 24-7, something to that effect. Big thing with North Carolina Central, I think they're 96% in the red zone. I think the only team that I've seen upwards of like that is Jackson State. They're 100% when they get in the red zone, they're putting points up. So that's something to just keep an eye on going down the stretch.
Fascinating. Shout out to Russell Haynes. South Carolina State Bulldogs have their homecoming. So you have 3 homecomings in these 3 conference matchups. They're bringing in and hosting the Hornets of Delaware State. So it should be interesting when all this going on. Lennon Blow continues to do what he does. Shout out. Yeah, he going to troll him. He going to get him. Shout out to Lennon. I got to make sure we can check out Norfolk and check out the Spartans. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Today we had none other than Wilton Jackson II and A.D. Drew. See, Wilton, I got you today. Clean.
And that means I must didn't mess up either. You didn't.
Oh, yeah, your comments are actually on point. Let me give you not mess up. Your commentary was the best of the 3. I'm gonna start grading. Today, you would get the check mark and have your end of the show commentary.
We just can't turn in a group assignment.
That's not me.
He graded.
Turn in a group assignment.
Right.
I thought you were gonna say I'm grading him on the curve. Good stuff, AD Drew. Continue the great work over there at Morehouse as you're doing great information. The tease out there. You almost broke the internet. Everybody swear you were talking about Morehouse going to D1 and Jordan the SWAC. The MEAC was what everybody really thought it was, but not to be. It was another good highlight. Slow down, everybody. That's maybe coming. I ain't gonna say it's coming, because then I'll get in trouble. With that being said, again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, Sunday at 9 a.m. I want to give a shout out to all the R2 HBCU dean that were able to make it to Howard University last couple of days as we were going in terms of how we continue to educate the country and the world, for that matter, in terms of working on things with that nature. Drew wants to drop another dime. What you got, Drew?
I don't know. Actually, I want to ask you a question. You said R2 3, 4, 5 times. We know R2 is research level. Can you just quickly tell everybody who the HBCU R2 institutions are, because a lot of people aren't familiar with those?
Yes, great question. That's the Carnegie classification. R2 institutions are just below what we call R1. A lot of them is the top level that Carnegie classification does. And that means they are high research intensive institutions. There's 5 in the SWAC. Since we're talking about sports, I'll kind of break it down from that perspective, which happens to be Prairie View, Texas Southern out of Texas, Southern out of Louisiana, Jackson State out of Mississippi, obviously, and Florida A&M, if you would, in terms of Florida. Then you shift into the MEAC. You have 3 there, which is Howard University. And you also have Maryland Eastern Shore and Morgan State, in terms of 3 out of that. Independence, you have Tennessee State, North Carolina A&T, and you have a special one there at the Division II level, SIEC, private institution right there out of Atlanta. Clark Atlanta University make up these institutions in terms of the R2 Carnegie classification. 11 institutions, 8 of the deans were there representing, and the other ones would have liked to attend, but some of them couldn't quite make it in terms of what they're going on. But we plan to continue to work together to push what we do in terms of educating the next generation of educators, which includes, to some degree, those programs in terms of sports management. I made sure we did our diligence to get that information in. Don't be surprised if we have some push on that side of the envelope as well. Thank you for asking that question, AD Drew. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter. I call it Twitter because I can. That's Facebook and Instagram, DrKenyattaCavil. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, Facebook, YouTube. Again, check us out on Sunday. We'll try to let you know where we're going to be. We're going to find a way to make it happen. Dream big, continue to move forward. Charles is calling the game this weekend, Texas Southern. Grambling, that's another key matchup, so check him out. Listen to him for that. Morehouse has a big matchup this weekend. Homecoming. For Morehouse. It don't get quite bigger than that, and they call it the Spell House.
Spell House Homecoming.
Yep. Spellman is involved in that and show out and show in there. That should be a big deal. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Wilton?
Lecture.
AD Drew?
Happy Spell House Homecoming, y'all. Dismissed.
Nice.